Ah, 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 ah.
Happy Mother's Day.
Why are you telling me that?
Because you didn't tell me that. You.
Maybe I would have gotten to it, but you were so quick to pull the trigger. You wanted.
No, I really was just saying it to be silly. I wasn't saying it like, because you did it.
I want to be recognized. I'm the mother.
I'm a mother.
Well, hey, I think that there's recognition that should be bestowed. I'm glad I don't have to have babies grow in my body. And if I were a woman, I think my choice to have a kid ever would be very easy. No, never.
It's hard, though, because it's a biological push that's difficult. So, like, even if you don't want to have kids, there are times where you're like, oh, but I kind of want kids. You know, but you don't.
No. I believe you, and I know that this happens, but you forget who you're talking to. There's a biological push, many biological pushes in my life.
Oh, that you've definitely repressed.
Eating, sex.
Right.
I don't even repress them. I don't need them. I'm above them. So if I were a woman and that clock tick-tock, your time's running out, I'd say, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I'm not going to be fooled by you. The one thing that we're here for, to procreate. What a stupid reason to be alive. I'm going to go against it.
That's not stupid.
That's a pretty, if the only reason you're here is to procreate. Just to keep some cycle going on forever, where none of it actually matters because every piece of the cycle's job is just to further the cycle.
No, but it's also to adapt and change, because if you didn't, then you wouldn't be able to survive and adapt to different changes in your environment.
And I feel like there's got to be an end goal. Like if we were saying at some point down the line, as humans continue to procreate, to reproduce, there's going to be a generation where all that stops. And that's the ultimate generation. And they get to live forever. And they've got all the tools and everything that they need. It's like, all right, then I get it. But it's just going to keep going over and over and over and over and over and over.
Well, don't you think that you sort of expect there to be an end goal because our species has an end date? Whereas if you think about the entire, the way that the universe functions and behaves, there's no end goal. There's no start or beginning.
It makes it even more futile then. Why are we even doing it in the first place? Just keep doing that until one day you don't because you kill yourselves or the sun blows to the size.
Yeah, so why not just keep doing it?
It becomes a red giant and engulfs the earth. All right. I got to find a way to make you sound better.
You don't sound good?
It always sounds muffled.
Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
My name is Greg Russ. This week's topic, well, it's not really going to be the topic, but it inspired the topic because I'm sticking with the random word generator means of getting our show rolling, which, I have mixed feelings about because it feels like a cheesy improv show at that point.
Yeah, it feels hacky.
But also I think it forces us to think outside the box a bit. And sometimes it is difficult coming up with topics, especially almost 200 shows in, when most of the things in my life, look, very boring person for the most part. Most people are. They think they're exciting. But you have thoughts about a limited number of things. You repeat those stories to many different people, and they get you a long way. But when you're doing a show like this, you can't just repeat all those same stories. So at some point, the well runs dry. And I'm sure other things will pop up in our lives that inspire topics. But for every week, leaning on the word generator, I'm okay with. Because I think, when Fuel popped up a few weeks ago, I liked that show.
Me too. That was a very, where we were going to go. And it ended up in a good place.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that episode. I felt good about it. One of the best.
Did you listen back to it?
No, I've never listened. I will never listen back to any of the shows. I didn't last week's episode. That guy was stumbling around at the beginning trying to make a point, and we don't cut anything out. It doesn't matter because I don't listen back ever. But last week's I will never, ever, ever listen to because I know that. I don't even
remember.
I forget what I was trying to say. I was like, but I just kept hitting dead ends. Or
But that's all right, because like we said, I mean, sometimes that's just the way the conversation goes. And if we're going to have an honest conversation that isn't planned, and therefore makes something like the word generator not hacky, then sometimes you're going to,
well, last week
mess up.
wasn't the word generator. It was just about
No,
you.
but I'm saying though, it's an honest conversation. It's nothing that we're like, oh, okay, when you say that, I'll say this, and then we'll make a joke about that. It's like, no, none of that.
Yeah, there's no script. My coffee's almost done, so I'm trying to stall a bit before I introduce, because I hear the
Keurig.
It's a K cup. Sounds like what's the Diva cup?
It does.
A D cup, a K cup.
K cup.
But I got
don't say
the
D cups. That's your bra.
I got the recyclable one, so I don't throw away the plastic every time. That's nice,
that's
right?
Good. Yeah.
That was thoughtful.
I like the end of this thing using a Keurig where it's like.
Yeah, it's sputtering and spitting. Okay,
yeah.
Let's see if I can reach the coffee machine with my headphones still on.
Okay.
Oh yeah, easy.
Either your place is smaller than I think, or you have a very long cord.
Well, that cord, it stretches,
Yeah. It stretches, It's cord. It is wound into spiral.
Did you get any follow-up? Did anyone ask you out on a date after our episode? Any listeners reach out and say, Autumn, I got what you need, got what you want?
Well, there's a guy on Instagram that messages me almost every day and is now asking me, like, why are you ignoring me?
Why are you ignoring him? He's probably listening right now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm ignoring him because I don't know him. So I'm not going to start a conversation based on romance when I've never met you. And you probably live in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a nice place. Nice place to live is what the sign says in Atlanta.
It does?
A nice place. No, it doesn't.
Oh, like, wait, does it really?
Probably.
I mean, there were those signs. Gwinnett is great.
It probably says something like, welcome to the dirty, hot Atlanta.
Kasim Reed says hi.
Think about every time the mayor changes, the number of signs. I think about that in New York. Like, just all the government building signs have the mayor's name on it. And then the mayor changes and someone's got to go around. I know there's teams of people. It's not just one person. That's a lot of money. What a waste.
I wish it was one guy. Just like one old guy who knows how to do the technology that's old.
Yeah, the scraping and the stickers, the technology.
No, I'm saying I wish it was the old thing. Oh, like maybe those guys that you see painting someone's name on the glass that's like a detective.
But these are, I hear what you're saying, but we're past that point even with this.
I wish it wasn't like that.
By the
time he finishes all the signs, there's a new mayor. He has to go back to the beginning, like the Golden Gate Bridge.
Anyway, so okay, no dates. Our episode didn't help. What do you even want? I know we have to get to our topic, but I was thinking, I didn't ask you this question last week.
Yeah.
And I should have. I was like, what the hell do you even want in a relationship? Because after the show, and I was thinking about it more, it sounds like you're looking for what the setup you had before, which obviously didn't work for you. I don't know if you want just a normal. You did say at some point you want to live separately, but
yeah,
are you just pursuing something that's going to put you in the same spot that you previously found yourself in?
I don't think so, because I'm hoping that enough has changed with me to be able to request things or think about things that I need from the person and ask them. Like before, I wasn't really in touch with what I truly needed, and therefore didn't communicate it. And maybe even if I did know, I wasn't even able to just to deal with it. So I feel like that's different. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a good point.
Well, I'm not trying to
something new.
I'm not trying to corner you. It's not supposed to be a gotcha.
I know.
Just something.
Well, it just made me think, am I doing
about
that? But I think the difference is that I'm different.
Okay, so then you have to be discerning, which I guess you are. But it's difficult. You meet someone, you get wrapped up in it. It's fun. You have to be honest about, will this really give me ultimately?
Yeah.
You can still just do the fun part and then ditch the person if you want. But it's difficult to admit to yourself when something's going all right that ultimately it won't work.
Yeah.
I don't know if the pieces are actually there, but I really like this person. And then, you tend to just stick around.
Yeah. I did see somebody. We were supposed to go out yesterday, but we didn't. But I wasn't going to keep seeing him. I was only on one date with him previously. But then my Uncle Rich died, and then I just deleted all of my stuff, and it felt really good. So then we saw each other last week, and it was really nice. I had a really nice time with him, and I thought, oh, good. I'm glad that we're seeing each other again. And then we made a date for the future. So I'm feeling okay about that. I don't feel I don't know him that well. I feel like this is going to be a slow burn, which is fine. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, that's fine. Look, I was just asking that one question. I also,
I'm not full of butterflies, or like I'm not high on anything with him. I don't know him that well yet. He seems really nice and interesting. He has like a lot of things that he does, and I think that's cool. Like,
people get so wrapped up. They get so wrapped up in that shit, though. Look, it's fun. I don't deny that the beginning with those feelings isn't fun. I don't deny it isn't fun. I don't deny it is fun. That's what I meant to say, right?
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
I think I knew what you meant, even though it wasn't right.
Was not correct.
Yeah.
But also, I think too much emphasis is put on that for some people, because ultimately that does fade, and then real life sets in. And while it is great to have, if it wasn't there, but there was a person that provided exactly what you wanted and needed in a relationship moving forward, that you wanted to stay with this person, I think trading that is totally worth it. But some people it's just not there, just not feeling it.
Yeah. I think that's what I kind of expect,
That's the driving force from what we were talking about earlier in the pre-show about just procreate, just have sex, procreate. That's what that is. That's just a goofy fucking thing that nature's tricking you in, because nature doesn't want you to stay with a person for the rest of your life. That's not nature's plot. So,
no, it can be, because that creates stability, and then
I know, but nature doesn't give a shit about stability. It just wants the babies to come out.
Yeah, but it wants the babies to not be monsters.
It doesn't care.
It does care.
If the sole purpose is to procreate, it does not care if they're monsters. As long as the procreations they don't care about society or rules.
But those things help with procreation, because if it's too dangerous to have kids to procreate, or you're too busy trying to survive because everything is dangerous, then you're not going to procreate.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, I guess you get raped.
I agree with that.
But
well, I didn't want to go there. I just meant like a stable environment where people aren't dying constantly and there's more of a population to procreate. I can offer that. But I don't.
Societies and culture make people feel safe enough to have a baby. And the fact that we have our babies like 3 months too soon, because if we did gestate for longer, our hips would have to be so wide that we walk on all fours. So our baby really isn't fully cooked. Like it can survive out in the world, obviously, but it can't.
It has no clue.
It's still too little.
It's not like a baby giraffe that falls twice its body height and then is up and walking and running and prancing in a matter of minutes.
Exactly.
Rats, though. Rats are pretty stupid.
We're like half marsupial. You know what I mean? We have like a little worm that comes out of us and then like climbs its way into our papoose.
Well, thinking of rats, I guess that's why they have so many, because it's not a nice world for them. They just it's not the safest world. So they just spit them out. Like, as many as I can have, because most are going to be eaten by other rats, especially during a pandemic when there's a food shortage because everyone's fled the city.
Oh, no.
The babies become the snack. Snack well.
They're little low fat.
Anyway, we'll tie this up. I think wouldn't it be something if you dated someone who has kids, and then his week with the kids fell on your off week, so you always had kids again?
Well, that's what Travis was running into. Was his week with the kid, or his weekend with the kids was a weekend without the kids for his girlfriend. So I helped him like switch. We sort of like switched weekends.
So there was a free week. Everyone wants the free week. They don't want to admit it because they think it means that they're bad parents, and it doesn't.
No one has trouble admitting that.
I think
you
a lot of people
hang out
do.
with your girlfriend.
I think
I think kids, you can bone.
I think a lot of people would feel bad saying that they want an off week because I know it's not that black and white. I get that, but I feel most people no. It's like, yeah, it's okay to say, you know what, I like having my time.
Yeah. It's weird. It's
You're a really monster.
Because I do want a break from the kids, but sometimes I get so sad without them, and I like look at pictures of them in my Google Photos and I cry.
They're like a block away.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, if I was sad and I called Travis, I was like, I miss the kids, he'd be like, come over. I'd be like, no, because I don't want to have to parent. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to not have to parent.
You want to play. You want to be a friend, a pal.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because I don't even want. You know what I mean?
Well, let's get to our topic.
Don't pigeonhole me
I
into
didn't.
like I'm just somebody that wants to be a friend to the kid. I don't want to be their friend.
I don't know why you're getting so defensive about that.
I'm
Seems
not
like that's an
defensive,
internal struggle of yours.
It's not.
Well, maybe it is.
No, it's not. I don't see. You said you weren't saying that, and now you're like, I didn't say it, but that's what I meant.
Listen to you getting all worked up.
I'm not worked up.
Whipped.
I'm not whipped into a frenzy. I'm just saying, I'm not that. That's not the struggle. The struggle for me was not that I wanted to be their friend, was that I had difficulty being angry and being okay with being angry. And the fact that they would make me angry instead of being mad at them for that, just knowing that it's like, oh, it's okay to have emotions that like aren't easy. That was the issue. It was never that like, but they won't think I'm their friend. It's not that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you. I know. Okay. I said okay.
Yeah, you did say like, okay.
Whatever.
I know better.
I have my beliefs and I'm going to stick with them. And that's not even true. I just, it was a little game, a little exercise to get you going. So easy. So simple. I know your weakness. Okay, so the topic at hand.
Remind me of what I really am.
People don't sing that song to me ever.
It's not like you.
I will mute you. Okay, you're muted. Nobody can hear you now. I will unmute you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Put a heart in my hand, and I'll be happy for you.
Okay, stop.
Yeah.
We'll end the show. It's the equivalent of turning this car around.
I'm turning this car around.
I don't know why that was a threat. Sometimes I feel like we were probably going places when I was a kid I didn't want to go to. So if they said,
yeah, like we're going to Costco, I'll turn this car around.
Good. Turn it around. I want to go home.
I want that $1 hot dog.
Is it still $1?
I think so. It's maybe with inflation, it's $1.05.
It was just at a Costco. Well, over Christmas, I was at a Costco. It's where I got my tires when I was in Atlanta. I got new tires for my car from the Costco. But you apparently get everything there. You can get garage doors and roofs and trips.
It's wild. I know, trips. Isn't that weird?
Book your vacation.
God, I was watching this docuseries, and I had to watch commercials, which is my, pet peeve. And it was the same commercial over and over for Princess Cruise Line. And every time I was just like, okay, so it would show people, and it was always in slow motion of people just having the best time, like their big smiles, they were laughing, and they were all like diverse and just having a great time. And then it was like a family walking along some beautiful part of a ship and like looking at each other, and they were dressed really well. And
they have go-karts?
Huh?
Were there go-karts on this one, or is that Carnival?
No, this is no, that's for the poor.
It's too high
this
class.
Is Princess Cruise Line. But I was just thinking,
Is that higher than Celebrity Cruise Line?
I don't know, but it sounds like it.
Where's Disney fall in all that?
Disney is listen, I don't know anything about cruises because it seems like a punishment to me to go on a cruise.
Even though you said once, go work on a cruise ship. But
yes, because that's a totally different thing.
I know, let's not get into that. What about the big red boat? Is that still around? I went
What's
on
that?
The big red.
Is that Clifford's boat?
The big red boat, I think, was an entry-level cruise where you don't have that much money. It's an older ship. We went on it.
I didn't mute. Sorry.
Oh my God.
I muted. I pressed it, but it didn't go, and then the cough was coming.
Well, I'm not going to edit that out. Anyway,
Okay.
we went on the big red boat. I think that's where I met Molly, the girl from Goshen, Indiana.
Oh my gosh! And you told her you were 16?
I said I was 15 because she was 16.
How old were you? 12?
No, I was 14. But that's a big thing at that age. It's a whole different grade.
Are you doing long division? Oh my God.
Here's really what happened. She was in 11th grade, even though she was in Indiana and I was in Georgia. I guess there's enough similarity between the curriculums. But I was in an advanced science class. So I was in 9th grade.
So you were able to sort of...
I was in the 10th grade science biology class. And then she said something about, we were talking about classes. She's asked, it came up. I don't fucking remember. I was in biology. Oh, you're in 10th grade. It's like, yeah. I just lied.
Yeah, 10th grade.
So I didn't flat out lie. I did, but I didn't present the lie. I ran with it. The lie was handed to me, and I took it and ran.
You yes-anded her.
And then she just assumed I was 15 because of that, and I didn't correct her.
Right.
Maybe at this point it wouldn't matter. Please. If only my parents would have let me go visit. Like her parents would have let me come visit too. So ridiculous.
And what in the world would you do?
I don't know.
Be dropped off at a mall and walk around and hold hands?
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Mm-hmm. Go to the food court.
I remember telling my parents I wanted to go. I'm like, no, you're not going to Goshen, Indiana.
Did you get mad? You're like,
yes.
You doesn't let me do anything. And then you slam your door.
You're keeping me from love.
True love.
This is why I've had so many failed relationships. It's their fault. I could have had one.
This was it. This was the beginning.
That would have been it.
You're like, I guess, you know what? You tried to ask for what you needed, which was to be 15 and go to Gothen or whatever the fuck.
Goshen.
Goshen. You met on the ocean.
Yes. See?
Goshen.
It's nice.
And then, you asked for what you needed and you were refused. And you thought, you know what? I guess I'll just never ask for I'll never need anything ever again.
Because my parents will just say, no.
Yeah.
You can't do that. As a 40-year-old man. No. Gregory
Russ Sr.
I'm not senior.
No, he is.
No one's a senior. There's no senior.
He's the senior. If your name is Gregory Russ.
No. There's different middle names. There's no senior or junior.
What's his middle name? Michael?
No, Anton, which is his dad's name.
Anton LaVey.
Sure. And I have a different middle name, Jason. So.
Did you ever want to go by Jason?
No.
You know, people that go by their middle name. Like my dad said, growing up, he was Tommy until people started calling him Bob. Because his middle name's Thomas.
I mean, that's fine. I don't know why I reacted with such vitriol.
You hate Jason?
I don't hate it. It's fine. I just never thought about it. I thought my name was fine. It's a fine name.
I'll go by Marie.
It never ranked high on the lists, but it's always been around because there was a saint, Gregory. I'm sure that's what carried the name all these years.
I'm glad you're not a Greg.
Yeah, of course. So am I.
Yeah.
The double G's.
Why do they do that?
Arbitrary.
Is it a British spelling or something?
Just arbitrary. I don't know. I don't know the point of it.
Greg.
I mean, were you ever going to get to the topic here?
No.
Were you ever going to? Orgy was the topic. Well,
the band?
Orgy. No, we already tried that with Fuel, and it worked. But
we can't capture that lightning in a bottle again.
Can't take that same path. I mean, if you want to, we can start talking about Orgy the band and then get back to number stations and just repeat the show. But no, Orgy popped up. But I said, I'm not going to talk about an orgy. I have no experience with an orgy. And what little insight I could give would be done in 2 seconds, just like I would
Right.
be in an orgy.
Ew, no, you wouldn't.
That's either it would never happen because
It would never happen.
Yeah, because it's too much pressure, or because it's too much pressure, it happens the other way.
Right. If it was like so exciting for some reason, I think you'd be surprised, right? Like if it happened that quick, you're like, whoa, I didn't realize this was going to be so sexy.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if there's time, you just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
Though in advanced age, it takes a bit longer.
Ew, just like, ugh. Like if you look at those porns where there's a lot of dudes just like waiting their turn and they're just like flopping around their weird peens.
Okay, that's not what an orgy is to me.
Oh, you're right. That's a gangbang.
Yes. So it's not the same thing.
Working on the gangbang. Okay, so when you said orgy, when it was brought up on the word generator,
I said no way.
Word generator.
No way. That'll bring me too much shame because I'll admit that I'd be a 2-pump chump. Which it's very embarrassing. You laugh at it. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you can't help it.
I mostly laughed at the rhyme.
Sometimes you can't even help it. It fluctuates. And any dude, I mean, maybe there's some guys out there who think that going for an hour is what people want. That's not what people want.
Oh my God, like that ED commercial. Our clients are lasting for 60, 90,
no one wants 90 minutes.
25 minutes. Like,
Nobody wants that.
Especially not your old ass 56-year-old wife who has a sciatic nerve problem.
It's drilled. No pun intended.
Drilled.
I know. I knew you were going to go there and I hated it.
I didn't go there. You went there.
Well, I had to cut you off. It's drilled into dudes' heads. That's the way to do it. It's like the longer you last.
Yeah, just in and out. It's just back and forth motion, and that's what women love.
The longer you last, the better. It's like, no, 10 minutes can be very nice if it's done correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot to do before that.
And even if the 2-pump chump makes an appearance, you can still take care of things.
I know, but so many men are just, well, maybe not so many now. I feel like it's probably less because I feel like there's more education and more talk. Not education isn't from school, but just maybe more openness to talking about stuff like that. So men aren't just like only using the woman as a human pocket vagina.
No, I think that there's more thought put into the...
I hate that I said pocket vagina. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Put into the woman's experience and pleasure. I think that that's happening. But there's still this idea that if there's an instant, like obviously if it's happening all the time, then there's a problem because you can't have sex. But there's like an instance where, especially if you're in a relationship, it would suck if you're just having a one-night stand and then it's like, oops, I'm done. Like that's embarrassing but if you're in a relationship and it happens, it's still embarrassing is what I'm saying. But it shouldn't be. It's like, all right, whatever, that happened once. And maybe it's nice. It's like, yeah, that they were excited, ready to go.
Yeah.
But there's this idea. It's like, oh, I'm a fucking loser. And then the guy slinks away and goes into a depression and hides.
Right. Instead, what you should do is stay there and get your woman off. Don't hide. Be embarrassed in your head. That's fine. But get down to work.
Yeah, but there's still this idea. That's the proper thing to do. It's like you don't just give up on it and you make sure that everything's taken care of. And then you sit in shame.
Yeah, there you go. Shame yourself all you want. Just get me off first.
And you don't talk about it because I'm too embarrassed to talk to it.
Yeah.
Or if you did bring it up and the other person's like, no, it's not a big deal at all. I was like, you're lying.
Yeah, so many men
I don't believe you. Men are less insecure.
So much wrapped up in their penis.
They're so fucking insecure. If you go look at Reddit, it's all the subreddits. One for like average penis size, which is hijacked by dudes with giant ones because they come as is this average? But there are people. It's like that's very normal, and they're just so ashamed and like it's the smallest thing in the world. And looking at porn, it's the same thing that has been presented and women have had to deal with for so long.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Like the
body standards.
Yeah, the standard of the perfect woman or the ideal woman.
Well, and it does seem like a lot of masculinity is wrapped up in your penis size because you can be all jacked and outwardly masculine, but if you have a small dick and you're in a locker room, then you're going to be like made fun of.
And it's
Even
based,
if outwardly you're a very strong looking alpha male, but if you got this little dink,
but see, that's a problem only amongst men. You're in the locker room with other dudes, so what do you even really care? Do the other
right? Yeah.
dudes think they have something on you? It is absolutely insane. The same as it is for a woman. It's like I had
Mhm.
nothing and no control, nothing to do with this, no control over it. It's just the way it
Right.
happened.
My one boob is bigger than the other. I'm so embarrassed.
But,
Like, who cares?
but
They're
it's like,
boobs.
some women don't have big boobs, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But the way it's been presented, it's like, hey, I guess that's why you have breast implants.
Yeah.
It's not as easy to enlarge a penis, even though dudes try. Like, what an awful procedure that probably is. And I know that I don't even know what the success rate is or what you even get out of it.
Well, the biggest result that you get when you try and do like a penis enlargement is they just cut the ligament so that it hangs longer.
So it's not even.
It doesn't necessarily. It's not bigger as in like when it's hard. It just hangs, and so maybe you feel more confident in that way. Which I guess if just like women who want to get some like titties, it's like it makes you feel better, I guess.
Yeah, that's the argument. That's hard to go against. If it makes someone feel better, then
Yeah.
But why is it set up in that way in the first place?
Yeah, I know.
And you watch porn and everything you see is oversized, and also the way it's shot.
I never think about pornography being any kind of standard. I mean, it's odd to me for someone to look at that and say like, "Oh, I'm supposed to."
Because we don't talk about any of it openly, and none of it's
Yeah.
discussed. And in school, you still have to dance around it because people have to get their permission slips signed, and then even if one's signed and the school goes too far, you're going to deal with parents. It's absolutely dumb. It's the stupidest thing.
I mean, it is the reality of the world. Pornography is so accessible, like so easily accessible now, and
That's what you
can
have to
be
go on.
very intense. It's not like when we were watching scrambled porn and it was like the Playboy channel.
Well, even if you paid for that, you didn't see anything. Like, it still wasn't hardcore. Like, I'm thinking about the Spice channel. It was still
Spice was better than Playboy channel.
But you didn't really see. You saw naked bodies, but I don't think you saw penetration. And
I don't know because it was always scrambled, so I have no idea what I saw.
I think once it came in clear for whatever reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Lucky.
I know I was lucky. But then you're just sitting on edge because you're scared. Your parents are going to walk in at any moment.
Why are you doing laundry in the middle of the night?
No reason. Just kidding. Why are all your socks stained yellow?
Ew.
It doesn't come.
Yellow.
It doesn't come out that color. But when you hide it for a week, because you hide it because you're like, I got to find my perfect time to go wash this.
Right.
Then
why didn't you just go to the sink?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, just go like you're going to the bathroom and just
There
wash
was
it out.
there was shame tied to that.
Yeah.
To masturbating when I was a kid, and I don't know why. Like I moved through it, but for whatever reason, and I don't even know where it came from. It never came from my parents, but somehow.
You felt like shame by yourself?
Yeah, somehow through society, it's like, oh, I'm doing this, and like you're a loser if you have to do that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you're a loser when you're 11 or 12 and should be having sex. Yeah, okay.
Get a girlfriend, bro.
Your hairy palms. Look at you. I mean, but it was presented. We have these legends, these myths that pop up. And if you masturbate, here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to go blind. You're going to have hairy palms. Oh, I better stay away. Why did it matter?
Well, because you don't want to walk around with hairy palms or be blind.
I mean, why does it matter if you masturbate?
Oh, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
But it took a while
ridiculous.
to...
Animal. We're back to this. We're just animals.
I know we're back to this.
Animale. Elemane humanas.
So you mentioned the Playboy channel, though. This is where you wanted to go with Orgy, and I was.
Oh yeah, because when you said Orgy, it reminded me. I was watching the Secrets of Playboy docuseries. I think it's on A&E, and it was really interesting. I really, I mean, you got to watch it. But I fell into the sort of what's it called? The PR, the image that was cultivated for Hugh Hefner.
You're saying
being,
what he put out there.
yeah,
The way he
putting
presented his
out,
parties at his mansion and
oh, no. The stuff about him being like, really into civil rights and the First Amendment
oh.
and all of that stuff, including African American bunnies when that was like back in the early 60s when that wasn't socially acceptable. All this stuff, and just his like weird lifestyle. I just thought, well, whatever. But like everything, when there's a guy with a ton of power and sexuality is wrapped up with it, there's a ton of abuse. And within the point, you should watch the docuseries. It's really interesting, but it really goes out to demonize Hugh Hefner. And I don't think that something like that isn't true. I don't think that he doesn't maybe deserve to be a little demonized. I don't want to say a little demonized. It's fine, but there's also so many nuances and things that make it difficult for me to say he was like the mastermind. He was the one, the puppet master. Yes, I guess in the beginning, I mean, he did start this ball rolling, but so many things around him, mistakes made by the women, mistakes made by him, intentional abuses, accidental abuses, like where someone was consenting in the moment and then realized, that was a bad situation and never said no again, like said yes at first, but never said no again, but then wanted to say no, but there was an imbalance of power, like all of that stuff. There's so many gray areas, and it's easy to, just like it's easy to put someone on a pedestal, it's also easy to just demonize someone as wholly evil. And I don't like that. It made me also think about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial,
which I know nothing about still. I don't even know what's happening. Like, I know they're there, and I hear the testimony. I don't even know what the hell it's about. It's a slander case?
Yes. Well, so there was that case against the two of them in England where I think she won that case.
What did he do? He was abusive.
Yeah, she said he was abusive. And then I don't remember. I don't know a lot about the London or the England, whatever case, but this one, she came out with that op-ed, right? Where she didn't name him, but talked about the abuses.
Oh, so it's libel.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're right. It's libel.
Well, probably both. I don't know if she's speaking it and writing it.
I'm not sure because I know she wrote it, but then she didn't say it was him and then eventually said it was him, I think. And so he was saying that maybe he's no angel, but she also abused him and it wasn't so black and white. And then, she's saying, no, I didn't, I guess. But I think it's mostly, there's a lot that's interesting about watching it and staying in touch with it because she is so confusing to watch. I'm watching her and just the way that she moves and the way that like her face contorting and stuff, it's weird and it makes me confused. And I tend to not believe her, but I also stop and make myself I ask myself, why don't you believe her? And it's hard to say. It's just a feeling,
You have this idea that she's acting and she's not as good as Johnny is. Johnny's acting also. But
I'm sure he's acting
superior.
also.
He's just a superior actor. And this is his chance to shine.
Okay.
The role of a lifetime.
In some ways, there's that, right? That's one layer of this multi-layer cake. He is a better actor than her, hands down. But I also believe that like he was, he did the dance with her. He danced this toxic, maybe sometimes abusive dance. The thing is that she's approaching it like she's the victim and she's the angel and he's the demon. And I don't think he's approaching it this way, but the society, like our pop culture stance on it is save Johnny. Like, and that seems stupid too. Like I said, there's this demon. It's just easy to just put people in like a black and white category and say like, she's the devil, he's
It's storytelling. It's the easiest form of storytelling too. Spielberg did this quite often. Spielberg, obviously a great filmmaker. Nobody can deny that. But a lot of the times it's like, that's the bad guy. I know that's the bad guy, and there's no questioning that's the bad guy. And I don't even know why he's the bad guy. He's just the bad guy. And then we got in the zone where the bad guys, you know, they were nuanced and there was reasons they became the bad guy. And that's fine. And that was an interesting thing to explore for a while. Then that became oversaturated. Now I think we're moving back to just, there's the bad guy, there's the good guy. Good person, bad person. Let's just say that.
Yeah, good.
When I say guy, it's all encompassing, but I understand that maybe people don't want to be
like
called
man,
guy.
as in like humanity.
Yeah. But still, it's easy for people to digest. It's happening. I mean, the court case, from what I know, which is very little, is one. I'll tell you that all I know is his finger got cut off at some point, and then he wrote on a mirror and the blood with his blood.
She threw a bottle at him, and I think he dodged it, and then she threw another one, and it hit his hand, and like the glass broke and sliced off the tip of his finger.
And then he wrote on a mirror with the blood. But she says that he slammed a phone. I don't know why. I know this is the only thing I know about this case. He slammed a plastic phone down and it broke and cut his finger.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
That's the extent of my knowledge of the weirdness of this. But at that point, he wrote something about her being like a whore on the mirror in his blood, which I could see him doing. As far as it goes with Johnny Depp, that guy seems to be so full of himself. He buys his own legend. He probably thinks he's one of the best actors that has ever lived because he does these strange roles and he can get into these weird places. I think that he really is full on Johnny Depp. Like he's like, that's the greatest guy in the world. No ounce of humility.
No, I disagree. I think
I saw the way people throw themselves at him. How can you not, I think, if you were put in a situation like that? I think you already have to. There's obviously actors who go into it who get nervous and worried, and they still make it. But there are some people who just get into it already buying their own bullshit and having an exaggerated sense of worth and talent. And I think he's one of those people who's just from the start. He's like, I am Edward Scissorhands. I think he's an eccentric weirdo. These people
addict.
Okay, so if he's dealing with things.
Yes,
but I think there's a narcissism there. Like narcissism is a compensation for
I don't think
dealing
he's a
with problems. Okay.
She's the narcissist.
Okay, you know more than I do, and I don't necessarily care. But that's true. That sounds dismissive. That's not what I meant. I don't want to get stuck in this, is what I'm saying, going round and round. To me, what I don't know anything about her, so I can't make any assumptions. Sure, I'm sure that she's right up there with him, and maybe they're clashing, and it's a battle of power, and who's going to come out on top. He's met his match finally. One of those things. I do feel as though watching people throw themselves at him. We can tie this back to Hugh Hefner.
Who have you seen throw themselves at him?
I saw some video of him leaving and people running up to his car and him rolling down the window and people showering him with gifts and weird things.
Yeah, but that's normal for celebs.
It's just very strange,
especially in like other countries. I feel
Can you
Was
not
he in a different country?
Can you not be corrupted if you're put in that situation, even if you have every intent in the world? You want to talk about Hugh Hefner and the thing that you watched? I don't know Hugh's intents up front, but there was this idea. You said the PR where, hey, women's, I don't know if it's rights is not the way to go, but women's lib, being able to express themselves and show themselves and owning their sexiness and okay. Maybe,
not being ashamed of something.
Yeah, maybe there was some of that at first, and then you get into it and you realize the power that you have, and then you can start doing the things you want to do and taking the things you want to take. I think the only way you can really say that you were for on women's side is if you just never had sex with any of them.
Yeah.
Seriously. You're like, I did all this and I didn't have sex, because the moment you have sex, then you're in it for yourself a bit.
Right. And no, I agree with you. So when you talk about, like you said, you don't want to get stuck on it. But I think that to me rings more true with the Hugh Hefner Playboy situation than it does with Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, or just Johnny Depp in general.
Yeah, I think the only connection between the two is you were just trying to paint a picture of good guy, bad guy, a clear-cut line that maybe isn't realistic.
Yeah, it's not realistic, and it's
at some point
it makes me sort of question, like when someone does that. It makes me like, oh, now your argument is less valid to me because now you're not even speaking you're not dealing with reality anymore. You're only doing, like you said, the storytelling, which can be good for stories, but not for the reality of life, which is very nuanced.
But that's what court is too. You're telling a story and you're trying to make it as simple as digestible as possible so you can sway the jury.
We'll talk about telling a story. Amber Heard, she is not recounting events. She is telling a story. And there were so many times where she was objected because she wasn't answering the question. She was just going off telling these like long stories.
I can't speak to it. I don't know what she's defending herself, right? Okay, fine.
Yeah. She's defending herself, I guess.
I don't. Do people really care about it this much? I know that.
No, it's just fun. You know, it's interesting. The attorneys for her aren't very good, and so they keep making a lot of mistakes, and so that's kind of funny to see and watch.
Yeah, so you're watching it like a show too. You don't fucking care about the outcome any more than you care about it on Law and Order. Like, okay, like makes
like,
you
oh man, like that. I'd be like, what?
Yeah, maybe you feel something, but then you move on with your life. It's like, okay, that's the end of that.
I do care about. We're not going to get into this, but I do care about the Roe v. Wade stuff very much. I've never really all of the political things that have happened in our lifetime. Like all of the pussy hat wearing and the, believe women in science and like all of that is fine. And I applaud the people who go and do that stuff. I didn't really have a drive to participate. But this Roe v. Wade stuff, I actually have a very, very interested in. Like if there really was this like national women like a strike of women, like no woman is going to work today, I would participate in that.
Good. I think it's an important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the arguments that it shouldn't have been a decision of the court to begin with, but the way it's gone down, the court is supposed to remain apolitical and just be an entity that is objective.
Well, I think that's what they're doing.
No, that's not. At this point, we've moved so far away from that. That's not what's happening.
Oh, see, I think because Roe v. Wade has been not a very strong case, but I guess when it was brought back up, it's like, yeah, you're right. It's not whatever, but let's
people
do
tend
what we need to do to make it strong, or let's figure out what to do because we're not going to go backwards in society.
Most justices would have stuck with the precedent of the past. Like, I have my feelings on it, but this is what was decided.
Yeah.
And we're going to move forward. We're not even going to hear this because that's what happened. To say that there's not, people are people. You can't remain completely objective. You have your beliefs. Right. And it's easy enough to hide in the Constitution because it was written somewhat vaguely at times. And how convenient in this instance.
Yeah.
It's like 70% of the country apparently doesn't agree that it should be overturned, but here we are.
Yeah.
In this
it really feels, and again, I enjoy nuance, and I want to have a nuanced opinion about this. At this moment, I feel like it's stupid. Why are we doing that? You know what I mean? Like I feel very much there isn't a lot of nuance, which makes me think there must be some reason that makes sense to me why this is happening. And so far I can't find it.
It's a hot button issue. Like when it becomes political, it's a thing that it was convenient for Republicans to lean on because I don't even think I don't know if they want it overturned ultimately because it was an easy thing to use. Hey, look at this. We're going to push for this.
Oh, like
the bad guys on the other side are stopping us from doing this, but we're here to fight for you and we're never going to stop. And now we're at the point where they're getting this. Who knows how many want it, but because it's a hot button issue, it does stir people's emotions because there are people who feel strongly against it. And if you really think that abortion is killing a child, I can understand that stance.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't, whether or not I agree with it, I can understand it.
Right.
Now we're at the point where this may actually work against Republicans, and I hope it does, because it, you know, to really lock it in, it should be passed through legislation, and it's a thing that people just danced around and avoided as much as they can. I think that half the time politicians don't even really want to pass any kind of policy. It's just easier to say, I want to do this, but I can't because there's people in the way. But that's why you have to vote for me again, because I'm the one who fight that person.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that works out.
That's a strategy. That makes sense.
I think that's ultimately where we sit with a lot of things. But yeah, the fact that we're here, even if it is that game, because it has real world consequences. So if it's tied up in a game, it's disgusting even more so, because it's going to affect a lot of people. And then you do have the legislations, state legislations, who buy into it wholeheartedly and make, like, I've read things that people leave the state to get an abortion and come back, and then that can still be a crime. That's pretty fucked.
It's really fucked. And like all these people, you know, oh my fucking, I can't. I mean, it's just, it's not like everyone that should be having babies is having babies and we're having this great society. Like, that's not happening. But the people that do have the resources and maybe the education, maybe the support to end a pregnancy before it's too far along, because they don't have a job to support a family, or they don't have the education, you know, to get a better job, you know, like, or the support system around them to help them raise a baby. Like, leave them alone.
Well, they want to limit. Here's the thing. People want to limit birth control, and those same people want to ban abortion. So are you just saying abstinence, I guess, at that point is the only way forward?
Guess what? A lot of people don't have a choice when they have sex. And a lot of people don't have a choice as to whether they get pregnant or not either. A lot of people are not educated in how to prevent pregnancy and go to extreme means.
It's a failure.
Taking like a ton of vitamin C and stuffing things up their vaginas to stop a pregnancy when it hurts them or it's voodoo. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a failure across the board.
Care.
As we already mentioned before, that there's no sex education that means anything in this country because we avoid it. And it's this shadowy figure that people just dive into and take their cues from other people who are just as clueless, or porn, or whatever the fuck it is. And then you enter it, and then you get in a spot where, for a myriad of reasons, there's an accidental pregnancy. And then you're in a spot, like, to me, I get that it would be a very difficult choice. And I don't think that most women make it lightly.
Absolutely not.
And they're like, okay, good. I'm just going to terminate this pregnancy now.
And then there's this weird response. I'll let you finish, but there's the weird response where there is so much pushback of people getting abortions that people will yell at abortion protesters and say, like, I killed my baby. It's like, that's not what. Please don't give anyone the message that, like, you're proud to have had an abortion. Like, you can be proud that, like, I'm so glad that this is available, but it's almost like a petulant child.
Well, that's just stirring shit at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's annoying, but that's out there in social media, and then can be used against.
You want to hurt them. You want to hurt them because they've hurt you, because the way they do come after people, demonizing them, like, it stings because people are already struggling with the decision and having to do that. And the last thing you need is someone in your face telling you how horrible you are for doing it.
Well, and then so many people will say, like, the anti-abortion people will say, at those abortion at like a Planned Parenthood, when they're protesting, they'll say, like, there are programs, we can help you pay for this, pay for that, have this, and so you can have the baby. But they're also the same people who vote against taxes that go towards those programs. It's just the same people that you said, like, to avoid, to limit some birth control. Like, I'm so glad that Plan B is here and around. Is that going to be also illegal at some point?
Well, that's the fear, that this gets the ball rolling on all kinds of rights. And then we just go into straight up regression.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah, it really is. I hate it.
And it's becoming more polarized because it just becomes an all or nothing game. And that's what we're playing right now.
Again,
and real people, like there's real world consequences, and real people get hurt because some fucking asshole politicians want to stay in power.
Yeah.
And they just spew the shit that comes to their mind that thinks will get the most people on their side. And nobody takes a stance because they hate the other side so much. They're like, well, I don't like the other side, but I don't even agree with this, but I still got to vote for this.
That's what happened with Biden. I don't give a shit. I don't know anything. I didn't know anything about his policies and whatever. It just wasn't Trump. So it was a stupid vote, you know?
Well, when you're given the choice in that instance, sure, people are making that kind of decision.
And so when those, like you're saying, those politicians, when they have the choice of like, well, you know, I guess I got to keep my job.
I'm so fucking fed up with it. Politics is like professional wrestling for people who think they're smart. They look at people watch professional wrestling like idiots. And then I love politics and I've got my favorite politician. Like, okay, like that's the same. I picked a wrestler where I know that this person isn't really that person. Like in the ring, they're playing a character. And I fully believe that there are people who go into politics with good intentions. And similar to what we were talking about before with celebrities, is there a way to keep from being corrupted? A lot of people
go ahead.
Well, a lot of people are drawn because they like the power, but there are people who go with good intentions. But if you're around long enough, or even if you think I want to do something, I want to enact change, but I have to stay around, you fall into playing the game. You have to play the game. So then the game becomes divide and conquer, where
I'm sorry.
I was going to say it's a divide and conquer where you keep all the dumb peasants at each other's throats so you can sneak around behind the scenes and in the shadows, and you high five your colleagues. It's not lost to me that there is actual hate for one another in Congress, but I think that some of the people are actually more so friends on the outside than you would think.
No, I agree. I was going to say that I know I can't speak to any specific anything that Arnold Schwarzenegger did as the governor of California, but he did say in an interview once that he wanted to do the right thing by the water shortages and the drought in California. He was coming up with some ideas and some things that he was going to push forward and send money to help, blah, blah, blah. And then these lobbyists came in and were like, no, you can't do that. Because if you do that, it's going to stop this from happening. And then that stops that. And and then they give a lot of money to this thing, and then you won't get funding for that. And it's like, oh, well then I'm fucked. Like I'm trying to do something that I believe in, which I'm affected by, but I can't because of this weird system that's already in place of like influence and money. So even if you do go into politics trying to do the right thing, you're going to be stopped by the machine.
Yeah, you're strong-armed into making decisions because you lose too much otherwise. And there needs to be reform, and there never will be reform. There's no reason. There's not, unless there's some kind of real just rebellion. And I'm not saying it has to be violent against the system. And I don't know what that looks like, honestly, because you could boycott voting, but there's still going to be some people who vote. So even if 3 people voted and everyone else didn't, someone's going to be elected on those 3 votes. Is that really what you want? But you got to find a way to take the fucking money out of politics. And I don't know.
And we're also busy, like you said, like scrapping amongst each other. It's hey,
easy.
You know the war that's going on in Ukraine? But what about Amber Turd and Johnny Derp?
I'll see, you're being distracted by it.
I know.
It's a good way. It's like, oh, I'm not thinking about other things right now. But sometimes, we have to do that because it's just too much to think about everything else. So we're not being forced to watch that, but it's there and amusing ourselves to death. I mentioned this book before. It's worth reading. It was written before. It was like maybe the internet was just coming around. In a revision, I think it came out in the 80s, though. But it's just about a country that continues to have endless entertainment options. The internet is obviously providing more than entertainment, but it's divisive. And ultimately, though, it's distracting us. It's distracting us, giving the illusion that you're partaking in the system, helping with political movements or social issues. But ultimately, you're not. But the book itself, Neil Postman, is is the author. I think it's worth reading. So let's see. The book's origins lay in a talk he gave in '84. So this was pre-internet. But you read it, and what he was predicting pre-internet, it's only been exacerbated by the internet. It's like, wow, it's a short read too. It's worth checking out.
Did you say what it's called?
Yeah, Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Oh, I thought you were just saying that.
No,
that's the name of the book.
That's the name of the book.
Awesome. Okay. It makes me want to watch that Bo Burnham. Again,
don't take all your cues from Bo, but sure. He has good points. Public Discourse in the Age of Show Business. That's the subtitle to the book.
Love that.
Again, a quick read. I don't really know if it leaves you feeling good, because it's like, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going to continue to happen. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's continued to happen. And it's only been accelerated.
Prophetic.
Yeah. And then you're just left feeling empty. It's like, what the fuck can I do to stop any of it? And probably nothing. Like, it's got to just play itself out. I think
I don't want to. Well, are we going to have a response? Just like the 80s were a response to the 70s? Are we going to have some weird...
I assume at some point people are going to get tired of all the division. And if there are politicians who represent themselves as people who want to unite, like right now, there's no tolerance for uniting. If you ran on a platform, I want to work with the other side, people would never fucking get in. It's not what people want right now. But at some point, maybe that starts to actually happen. It doesn't solve so many of the problems in politics, mainly the money. The money is the biggest thing in corporations. Their power that they have, the fact that they're considered people. They can give. I
feel empty now.
I know. You took us down this path. I thought we were just going to talk about Hugh Hefner and what a creep that guy was.
Yeah.
I thought that was what the extent of the show was going to be.
That's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you talk about serious things.
Well, I think with the new format where we introduce a word, it just kind of takes us on a journey. And now you're at the point where your life is being dictated by other people.
Not my life will be fine. I mean, I'm past pretty much that point where I have to worry about that, but it's still not right. And I'll fight. I'll help fight.
Yeah, because you can easily put yourself in that situation. You know what it would be like.
Nobody wants daughter. I don't want my daughter to have some sort of, situation happen to her where she can't, get proper, safe medical care, because of some, oh my God, because of some thing that's written, some religion. I can't. All right.
It's supposed to be separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done?
When your constituents are religious, and look, nothing against people who are religious. That's not what I'm saying in this.
I know.
But when your constituents are religious, you can't separate the two. You stir them.
No, you can't, because it's in their everyday life and behavior and morals, and how can they?
You can still hold your judgment over people.
Absolutely. Judge away. Just do it silently. We all judge. But that doesn't mean that your voice has to be heard just because you're judging.
There's the irony that people point out that they want to protect unborn fetuses, but then when someone's born, there's no benefits offered to them anymore. It's like, well, you're on your own. Figure it out.
It's your parents' position now to take care of you, which it is. But if people were educated and there were less shame and more autonomy given to women and their bodies, and like help for them when they're abused, or if they're not, oh my God, it's just a problem that has, it's a dying tree that has many roots, and there's no one root system to go down.
Gotta chop it down, plant a new tree.
That's right. Start over. Let's get the sun to explode and see what happens.
That's almost where we're at. The tree's dead. I like the analogy. The roots are too twisted and tangled. Like it's choking itself. It can't get the nutrients it needs. You gotta chop that fucker down.
All right. Well.
Okay.
Fuck. I have to go have Mother's Day now.
Enjoy it.
I'll be like, why do we exist? All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Hopandpepper.com. One topic, 15% off hot sauce. Made in Chattanooga. It's really good. You should check it out. Hopandpepper.com. One topic, 15. Okay, bye.